morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're watching right around the world. And if you're watching from New Zealand, happy Matariki Day to everybody over there across the ditch. Hello and welcome to the first ever Mega Esports. 6 hours of Silverstone. The cars aren't real, but the racing is. You join us for qualifying. We have a split qualifying format here this evening. We're going to have Q1, Q2 and Q3, of course. 20-minute session here in Q1 tonight. Top 10 making it through. 11th and lower, and then the 10-minute session for Q2, top 6 making it through before the Super 6 shootout to complete the starting order for Sunday's race, as I welcome the rest of the commentary team, starting with a multiple esports sim racing champion. He's a member of the QRT esports crew as well, and I talk of Cameron Norris, who's joining us here this evening. Great to have you along, Cam.
Welcome to the Mega Esports 6 hours of Silverstone. Qualifying obviously just starting now. Q1 getting underway. 18 minutes left on that clock, so looking forward to seeing what times these guys can do.
It's going to be fantastic. Also joining us as well, he's the voice of Speedway in New Zealand, and it's great to have him along as well. Mike Howes joining us all the way from New Zealand. Mike, good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening. Good to be part of this historic. I've been to this for quite some weeks. My son has said, come on, you've got to have a go at esports commentary. It's certainly different. I'll tell you what, I'm to the screen, I'm watching at the moment one of the cars on a rapidly drying track here at Silverstone, so I can feel like I'm in England. I'm actually in New Zealand, and looking forward to it. So, job, I've really enjoyed you fellas so far. Thanks for the inclusion. It's Cam. Looking like it's going to be a great night.
Great to have you along, Mike, as well as 17 and a half minutes remaining in this Q1 session. Still waiting for the drivers to set their initial qualifying times, of course. Don't forget to make a prediction there, and you could be in line to win some channel points. The Golden Fork is joining us. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I think that was Jim Carrey's famous line from The Truman Show. Matt Simmons, 2015 GT Academy champion. Let's go, Simon. Let's go. Will I Am says he's looking forward to sitting back and being able to watch from the sidelines this evening. The prediction is up. Will we see higher or lower 58s overall, above or below 10 minutes remaining? Gamble responsibly. And Mike, this is the home of British motorsport. We always see some very interesting conditions being thrown up around this circuit. It is the UK after all, isn't it, in the summer?
Yeah, if it's not a rain, and we've already seen that here tonight on the sessions I've had, from absolutely bone dry to start another. Very much a full wet track, and it's dry right out. That's looking pretty grippy there at the moment, and track wear doesn't seem to be a factor. The guys from the earlier practice sessions were doing donkey times as the laps progress, so that to see, and let's hope that this first qualifying session goes off with a pitch.
Let's see, we're taking a look at PRT here in the hands of Metal Steel, and there he is coming around. We have the first of our provisional times coming through for Cave Racing at 201.150, and the Metal Steel PRT crew there going a couple of tenths further back than that, but special mention, of course, here tonight. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our brands and supporters. Of course, Hoon Corp, BCG, Kid Buyers Racing League, the Respawn Esports Centre, Kings Racing, and of course the Australian Autosport Alliance. Big supporters. And Cam, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the sponsors and supporters that we're getting tonight. Always good to show our appreciation as we go racing here tonight.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You know, this event wouldn't have been possible without the sponsors involved, so definitely be sure to check them out and everything that they do in the Respawn Centre over in New Zealand. If you're over there, definitely be sure to stop by and take a look. It looks good. I had a bit of a browse over their website the other day, and they've got tons of really cool stuff, from VR to racing sims, you name it, they've got it. You can even hire the location out for a party. But looking at these times so far, Trev, there is nothing in it between the top three provisionally, with rain predicted in 30 minutes.
30 minutes until we're
No.
getting some rain, Mike. You never quite know. You can get 4 seasons in one day around here, can't you? The British weather always keeps it
Oh,
interesting.
oh, it sure does, and it's one actually run by the NASCAR group, and runs real-time long-distance endurance racing in New Zealand, top to bottom, top of the North Island to the bottom of. You know, it's something that the real-time use. We're not necessarily driving sort of specification, following ladder. So it's just fantastic to have our drivers that come and join. And I think in the had one NASCAR teams wanting to put it tonight, this weekend. I'll tell you what, they are very, very distance. In fact, we have got a bossman of NASCAR himself, so person on the Twitter and Twitch and things like that. So he's, and it is just fantastic to see a sim race group like this understanding what's going on, food and that now spreading like that proverbial octopus from real small races and endurance races, now endurance sim racing. So I don't know, part of history here at the moment, and if we if we get the support I think we are going to get, and like you said, mentioning the sponsors, Mega mentioning the AASA, we do have Australasian Autosport Association here in New Zealand, so AASA, the Australian, it's exactly the same thing. We're just the cousin. We are slightly different branded owned franchise. Different, like the way we say six properly, and you guys say sex, which is a different thing to a number, but you seem to use it that way. Allow it. We are cousins, and that's how we.
No doubt about that. Fish and chips always a favourite as well there. But this circuit, Mike, talk about this circuit. We call it I guess it is the home of British motorsport. Opened in 1943. The real life lap record of 56.6. We're currently sitting at a 59.7. And unless we see something very spectacular, I don't think we're going to get into the 56s. But a classic old school circuit, Mike, and one that all of the drivers, I don't think you'll ever hear of anybody not liking this Silverstone circuit. The layout's changed over the years, but it's still a fantastic place to go racing, whether it be in real life or on the sim as well.
Well, that's right, Trevor, it is. And it's tracks that you really have to commit to just high speed. And as Nismo was saying, it's a very flat surface, camber corners going on there. Can find from these GT3 cars. I mean, they're not Formula One cars. They don't have a huge amount. They do have. They have to use, and zooming the outer edge. So ultimately, of these things for a long duration. Sim racing on, as you know, it's moved so realistic that if you're going to go in there and scorch the tyres, you're going to blow. Not just your qualifying laps, but of course your race lap over a stint. Whatever you're going to try and get out of those tyres. And it's very brutal here. Make no mistake, it's almost as long as Bathurst. It's 5.9.2. It's a very, very big track. And look at that. In the 59 and we did actually see a 58.6 in the earlier session drive. Still a little bit more to go, and I think that's that Hyper it is driving the good Hoomcourt car as well. The Hoomcourt team here as well. I'm a little bit of a motorsport. I like to have, but I am pushing for the Hoomcourt drivers. There's no doubt about that. But boy, they've got some serious competition for it, and you know more than most, and so too. Some racing a lot longer than I have. We've got some big quality drivers. We've got some. This is a start. So we have got pace of you're a good sim racer, and that's quite important.
Absolutely, no doubt about that. One of those is in the chat. It would be great to have him out on the circuit tonight. Matthew Simmons, of course, of GT7 fame. And he's won pretty much everything there is to win in the world of sim racing. And he says, I love Silverstone. First real GT3 race was here. Absolutely loved it. And Cam pointing out, of course, under a tenth here, Cam, between the top four already. In fact, we've got, what have we got? 6 tenths covering the top 6 with 9.5 minutes remaining in this Q1 session. It is very, very tight at the top of the timing sheets here today.
Oh, sorry, I think you cut over to me there, Trev. I was just trying to sort out some other stuff there quickly. But yeah, no, look, it's looking very good at the moment. Hyperdrift leading the charge in the Pro-Am class, you might say, with a 59.3, which is pretty quick. And, you know, they were separated, the top 4, sorry, were separated by just under a tenth. So managed to find some time over the course of that last lap, and he's about to go over the line. We'll see if he improves again here.
Let's have a look. We'll wait and see there as Hyperdrift across the line. It's a 59.370. Oh boy, and the HC Penrite squad here, they have well and truly set the high water mark here. But OGT for OSA 1 Racing there, going within 1/10 of a second, 0.040. Off provisional pole position. Of course it is. We're into Q1 at the moment, 20-minute session here, 8 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. Then we go to Q2, of course, the 10-minute session, which the top 6 make it through, and then we have the Super 6, similar to the top 10 shootout, Mike, with just with a few less cars, but still the same basic, I guess. What do we got? The same basic rundown of the top 6. Looking forward to that. But this qualifying session, 159.3. Are we going to see 58s here tonight, Mike?
I think so, mate. I think there's still more to come in the track there, Trev, too, because these guys really are continually popping out there, the green sectors. I'm still on board the 37 car there at the moment. We're just flashing around, just playing around with a few different screens and a few jobs. So yeah, like you were saying, the top 4 cars here, you know, within a tenth of a second. Can you believe it, for such a monstrous track like that? Now, we're used to seeing that with the V8 supercars, but these are completely different cars. There's no parity as such as, you know, they've got the performance, which is pretty good. But man, oh man, we're in for some more excitement. And yeah, I think we can say 58s without too much problem. 58.6 faster, maybe not. The lap I did actually watch was a scorching lap earlier on tonight, and these drivers really have been putting in a huge amount of effort behind the scenes, and had a couple of cracks. He's been doing some pretty good times under the 2 minutes. So yeah, I'm impressed with what I'm seeing so far, and the quality. You know, we haven't seen any big oopsie daisies. So. We have seemed to iron out most of the bugs. Now, that's not trying to put the commentators' curse on them, because Murphy's Law, but no, I think there is more to come. There's no doubt about that.
It's very real, you know, Mike, the commentators' curse. Let me tell you, you give these drivers a rap, they'll something will happen. The Esports sim racing gods will come down on them hard. We've got 6 minutes left in Quali 1. We are near the Northamptonshire villages of Silverstone and Whittleberry. It's the home of the British Grand Prix. And don't everybody let us know about that when it is British Grand Prix weekend. But opened in 1943, former World War II airfield. As we see Hammer there having a bit of a moment there for Ignition Blitz Racing. But let's recap. If you are just joining us here tonight, hopefully your predictions have come in. Will we see 58.5s, higher or lower? And Matty Simmons jumping in the chat there saying we'll definitely get 58s if the track turns optimum. It's currently fast, the track conditions, and you can see there the weather prediction, rain in the next 30 minutes, track temperature of 37 degrees, air temperature of 28 degrees. That's hot if you're in the UK. Nick there joining us, Matchin in the Beamer, showing the Porsche. Both Germans, one dance party, German one, Oktoberfest Germans. There we go, Alvita Zane to you, hello Nick, and Mark as well. The track is only fast, so the times, Mike, are only going to get better, but very, very important. They need to set those times before we see that rain starting to fall later in qualifying.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Trev. I'll tell you what, I hadn't actually looked at the prediction before I heard you say that, so it's like, crikey dick, guys, pick up the pace now. But it does bring something into it, though, because this isn't the only quali session, Trev. You know, we've got 2 more sessions after this, and I think that rain boy, that's going to be close if it's going to be hitting the track, at the time of the last the Super 6. So, yeah, that's a little bit of a scary time. Still seeing some fantastic times starting to come down there now. We've got 6 cars within the top, 4/10 of a second or thereabouts, with Cave Racing there and the 81 car being in the spot, and then the rest of them still within Kiwi. I mean, 2.5 seconds back to the 14th place car, the 787 Bentley. But that doesn't mean to say that they're not saving for a bit of a scorcher. They've got 4 minutes to go here. I don't think we've seen the end of it any time, because there might be a driver change, there might be a quick fly around the track, and we'll see what happens. So very clean racing so far, and drivers giving each other a little bit of respect. I've said I'm on a bit of a cool down lap, and that's something too that I've only just recently learned too, that you can actually cool these cars down. This is sim racing. I thought there was nowhere near reality as much as what I'm seeing, but you literally can go into a cool down lap, bring your tyres back so everything's still nice and hot, and go out there for and have a that's exactly what we're seeing here at the moment. So, there's the tactics that these drivers employ. Boy, oh boy, it is stuff.
Certainly is, and I tell you what, 26 people out there watching it. We're making history tonight. To everyone out there watching AASA, of course, big supporters for the mega brand, Hooncorp, BCG, KRL, the Respawn Esports Centre, and Kings Racing. It is great to have you along here on a Friday evening, and thank goodness it's Friday. It's been a long week, but where else would you rather be? We are counting down now. We're down to the business end. We are coming towards the end of Q1. Inside 3 minutes to go here in Q1, and it's still HC Hyperdrift there for the HC Penrite squad. Still on pole position at 59.379. But look at this, Cameron Norris. Give us a penny for your thoughts, because OCG, Norm for BCG2, there's barely a tenth covering the first 2 rows of the grid here at the moment.
Yeah, there is absolutely nothing covering OSA1 and BCG2. It's something that we've seen in some of our other Enduro series, haven't we, Trev? The BCG guys seem to come out in force, and they kind of tend to lock out that front row of the grid and a little bit further back as well. But no, it's really good to see OSA guys not too far behind, provisionally taking pole position. Even the OTR guys with Dask at the helm of the Bentley as well, looking really, really good at the moment.
As EXO joins us, we take a look at OTR. A Dask there going down Hanger Straight there as he continues his lap. Disco Stu, nice lap, Dask, says Disco Stu, great to have you along. EXO says, gentlemen, great to kick back with a jack and enjoy the stream. I'm sure he's talking about Coke Zero there as we take a look at Dask here through the final corner. Now, Mike, we are using the more traditional start-finish straight here, aren't we, at this Silverstone circuit tonight? I always get the two confused since the track revision a few years ago now, but we are using the traditional start-finish straight between Woodcote and Cops, aren't we, here tonight and over the weekend?
Yeah, that's exactly right, and that is something I talked a little bit off here earlier. A little bit confusing when you've seen the cars coming down what we think is the front straight, when it's got all the little box sections there and numbers for the grids and everything, but there is 2 of them. But you're right, that's the second around, and commentary change our lines and our commentary lines very quickly. I'm just noticing we've got 5 cars just over the top, just over 1/10 of a second away, but look at that. Got 3 cars all on the 0.0 difference between them, and I think that is absolutely sensational. And I see the Penrite car still only just fractioning the lead point, 0.040. Absolute corking, my goodness. And we go back to the OGT team there in the 328 car back in second spot. Third place is the BCG 2 car there with Norm behind Bill and car number 96, in the mighty old Ford Mustang. He's given that GT3 Watt 4, and with what we are down to the last few seconds of qualifying. First ever qualifying session of 3 to come here tonight for the Mega, and we go into red we've got a max wait time of 3 minutes now. So tight to your purse strings for all the laps. We've already got a couple of completed laps here. The 99 car not going to make it through to the top 11, and another one there that it finishes the screen for me. Thanks, buddy. But nonetheless, it's still to play for here, and there's drivers, a couple of green sectors that are really, really trying hard. Here's 6 car there, the mighty old Porsche, and the BCG3 team there. Pace there, but really needs to pick it up by a bit of gap to get them through to that top 10, and then from there on in, it's going battling out for the Super 6 Trev. So never say never on this one. She is absolutely all to play for, and 3 cars now. The 711 car has gone through in 9th place as it stands, so we'll go through for the second round of qualifying. A lot to play for here.
Certainly is plenty up for grabs. We see Sidorg in the pits, Dusk as well, so we've still got Norm out on the circuit here. It's the top 10 will go through. And let's have a look here. Metal Steel Branchy as well. Look at these margins, Cam. I tell you what, it's very, very competitive here for those final positions to get into Q2. Let's have a look at BCG2 though, in the hands of Norm, the Ford Mustang, a very new addition to this game. He comes across the line, good enough for third on the grid. What's Branchy doing for the Stingrays Racing? I think he might be coming back into the pits. So is Spawn. Yeah. I think we might be done and dusted here, Cam, for Q1.
We do have one car circulating still. They're coming down through Brooklands into Luffield with BCG3. So this is going to be their final opportunity to try and make it through to Q2. Coming out of Luffield, going into Woodcote. You're coming over the home straight. You know, it's going to be tight. But, you know, can he find that few tenths that he needs to maybe get himself into the top 10?
Let's have a look. Has he been able to do it? No. Just 13th, Mike, 1.5 seconds. He had to find about 6 or 7 tenths there, Mike. He couldn't quite do it on that last run, unfortunately, for BCG3. 13th on the grid as we head into Q2.
Yeah, that's a shame. But, you know, look, it doesn't disqualify them from the race. It just puts them off the back. And we don't know what the conditions are going to be like on Sunday afternoon, I should say, for what it's going to be. You know, is it going to be dry? Is it going to be wet? So they're on the grid. They're going to start the race. That's the important thing. And, you know, 0 to 0, starting off the back, it's 6 hours of race. Ourselves of that tonight. It's just that smorgasbord. It's just that little bit of a taste. It's the entree, and you know, all done particularly well. You know, hats off to the 37 car, to the OSA team there in the 28, you know, the BCG boys in the 96. That's the top 3. That's a very, very fast top 3 within, you know, an eye blink of each other. And then we go down to place there, the 107 car of Dusk, of course, and the OTR team, you know, just over one, that one. And look about that, 2 1,000ths of a second further back in 5th place here with Sidog driving the BCG1 car number 36. Go the Ferrari. I didn't realise those things were that quick. And Sidog, I mean, he's fast with. Then we move back to 6th place there in the 81 car, which is, that's Cave Racing, I think it is, Jono behind the wheel, you know, in the Mercedes, 0.275 of a second off. That's nothing shabby. And 7th place, Oscar 2 car there, particularly well, you know, and we go back through the field, you know, with the 8th place of OSA 3 and the sideways there in the machine in the McLaren, then the 9th place TT Racing car there in the Porsche GT3 as we get ready for the qualies, and the top 10, of course, the PRT Metal Steel driven car there with the Ferrari 296 GT3. So that's our top 10. That's what's going to be contesting it out now. And interesting too, the purple sectors there. Actually, the fastest car on the track with the fastest time didn't get any of the purple sectors, Trev. I don't know if you saw that.
I'll tell you what, we are into Q2. That is the voice of Mike Howe, the voice of Speedway in New Zealand. I tell you what, Mike, we are in for a ripping session here. I tell you what, they're down Hanger Straight. They're Cave Racing, pulling off to the side. We're seeing our drivers come out and begin their first runs in Q2 here. Rain in 10 minutes, Mike. Increasing rain in 30 minutes. It's going to get worse before it gets better. I know it's going to get very spicy indeed. Thank you, Matty Simmons, the 2015 GT Academy champion. They might have even made a movie about him. If not, they should make a sequel to the first Gran Turismo movie. But great to have you along, Matty Simmons. Rain now decreasing in 30 minutes, Mike. This is typical British weather if ever I've seen it here.
It's Mickey Mouse surprise day, British weather. Anything happen, and it does. And yeah, good to see these cars get themselves out there on the track already. You know, they haven't really had much. I don't know if the same driver. I didn't pay attention on who the drivers were for the first. And are they allowed to change drivers on this one, guys? I'm not sure. I think Hyper's actually out behind the wheel at 37 in this one, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. And What is the rule on that one? Can they? Is it the same driver goes out and does quali too, or can they choose whoever they want? Got Nismo here beside me. Actually, they can do whatever. Yep, no problem. So it can be either of the drivers.
I was about to say you got me reaching, Mike, for the rule book there, but I think you might have the rule book next to you where you are.
He's right beside me.
The boss is the boss of Hoon Corp. He's right beside you, and we've managed to sort that out. But HC Penrite, Hyperdrift behind the wheel. He'll be partnering Smitty this weekend in the car number 37, the Hoon Corp Esports Penrite squad there. As you can see, 25 people watching. Medium rain in 10 minutes. And big thank you to Cameron Norris for these weather updates. Do not go anywhere. If you're thinking of making a cup of tea, then be very quick about it, because 7.5 minutes left in Q2. If you're thinking of going and getting some fish and chips, I knew that wouldn't work, Mike, anyway, but doing nothing for Australia-New Zealand relations. But we've got 7 minutes remaining as Penrite comes down Hanger Straight. It's going to be important here, Mike, to get those laps in quickly. I don't think we're going to see the rain in this session in Q2, but it's certainly going to play a factor in Q3, isn't it, for the top 6 shootout?
Yeah, it sure is. And yeah, that's right. I mean, again, I'm a little bit new to this one. I don't know, they're going to run slick tyres surely if it does pour down for that Super 6. But, you know, the times will go out the window. We saw the one of the practices come back after a perfectly dry practice, and it was pace we saw in the previous dries. So, you know, it will absolutely crucify those drivers. I hope they've had plenty of wet weather practice laps, that's for sure. But quite keen to see what sort of times we're going to get from the drivers here at the moment. Times that have come down at the moment on the screen I've got, so hopefully that'll come up quickly. But this is now down to the top 10, and it's all about who's going to be the top 6. There we go, now we got it. So who's going to be top 6? What sort of times are we going to see? Hold on tight, you know, it's only going to get better and faster from here. And truly, Trevor, I think the rain will be applicable on this one. It's the cream rising to the top. And under pressure, you know, what can you put up with? Do you make that critical mistake? Because this is 10 minutes. Now we're down to what, 5 minutes. That's fine. But of course, the Super 6, it's all about the wonder. You've got to go out, might be a car, you don't have the big amount of heat that you'd really want, and then it's going to be play for. So I would venture now to say that the drive, 10-minute quali going through to hopefully qualify top 6, whoever they are, good luck to them, will actually be the same drivers laps. They'll have the most accurate feel of the car and of the track that time of doing that shootout. Cam, I know you've been darn sight longer than I have, mate. What's the call on this side of things now? Is it common that we see the same driver sticking out and doing that top 6 shootout?
Oh, it's very different. So a lot of races that I've personally done, we don't actually run this format, which personally I love this kind of format. So yeah, it's really about, you know, whether you want to divvy it up between your team and let every driver have that opportunity to set the quali lap, or most of the time the team will sit back and go, hey buddy, you're quicker than me, you set the laps for quali, we know you could put us in a good spot for the start. And sometimes that second driver or third driver on that team might sit back and they're like, I'm a little bit quicker on the race starts, I'm a little bit smoother, consistent, those types of things. So some of the common sides that we're seeing at the moment for the grid order in Q2 is OGT is still behind the wheel. We've still got Hyperdrift as well, Dast. You know, there's a couple of drivers that are still behind the car and they haven't done a driver swap to kind of split that up. So I'm looking forward to seeing who our Super 6 drivers are going to be and whether that's going to change around again.
Just like that, we've got 4 minutes remaining in this Q2 session. Auto Tomoto tuning in. He says, g'day dudes. Jason, you can't be saying that, Jason, but you just did. Reminds me of Martin Brundle on the grid walk. I think it was Austin a couple of years ago. You can't do that. And what did he say? I just did. But Matty Simmons there as well. Why is he in the car tonight? He says, rain in 5 minutes, but we've got the time starting to tumble here. Mike, look at this. 59.475, and to the top we've got a 58 here, Mike, a 58.845 from HC Hyperdrift, and the Hoon Corp Penrite squad going to the top of the timing sheets. 3.5 minutes to go, Mike, here. It's getting serious here at the moment.
Trev, that is an amazing time. At that time it was 0.6 faster than the OS team. Brought it back 0.2 as well. They've just gone and done a Line 2, they're now 0.4 off the pace, so everyone getting a lot quicker here. Well, not everyone necessarily, but certainly teams getting quicker. And 58.8, wow, that is really stonking. And now this is a race, isn't it? You've got to get the time in, and these drivers that have done this, hats off to them for the top 6. Of course, that's where they now have the rubber meet. Because, like you say, rain is on the way. And I mean, talk about setting the cat amongst the pigeons in this one, and that's we're doing. It's look, no one's out of this one at this stage in the top 10. They're all certainly doing some very good pace. I'm seeing a lot of moving pits, so we'll hope for the best on this one. And again, I've got to say, I am the Who supporter, but I do support good, clean driving, and so far very, very consistent fast pace from these drivers, and we just hope that, you know, the 7-Eleven car there, the TT Racing boys, I think there's more in them as well from the earlier lap times, so we'll hope that they can move themselves up to go towards the top 6 as well. But well done to them so far. Donking times coming through with what, just over 2 minutes to go, Trev, so you know, is it too early to run those odds and that little betting thing that Cam's doing? Can we put something up on this?
Well,
I'll bet.
Let's wait and see. I tell you what, sometimes the integrity of Cam's kid coin predictions have been questioned. Some coins have been going into some funny places they shouldn't be. But it is HC Hyperdrift still at the top of the order, 58.845. The top 6 make it through, and positions 7 to 10 will be sorted for the race on Sunday. 90 minutes to go in Q2 at the moment. And it is very, very close here, particularly between 2nd and 3rd OGT and Dask. Let's have a look at Dask here, going through that famous series of corners. Maggots and Beckett's there onto the hanger straight now. And Cameron, a penny for your thoughts once again. The top 6 make it through. Who can you see currently in that sort of 7th, 8th and 9th and 10th? Can you see any changes there for that top 6 in the next minute or so?
Yeah, it's going to be a bit interesting, isn't it? You know, Cave Racing did manage to put themselves into P6 originally, so or in Q1 I should say. They managed to just hold on to that one by a fraction of a tenth there, so you know, it's going to be tough, but I definitely feel like Hyperdrift for the 37 Bentley is definitely going to be running through. OGT as well, Dask, you know, even Slydog is definitely going to scrape through as well. So yeah, look, I'd love to see, you know, some of the other guys, maybe PRT, maybe another OSA team, or even Matchin for TT Racing make it through to the top 6 shootout there. But you know, the time's running out, and the one thing I'm very interested to see is this rain is slowly coming in, and it's going to shake things up during that top 6 shootout, because are we going to have rain for the first few drivers doing their laps, and is it going to get better towards the end?
Certainly are, and top 6 going through. We can see John is in the pit lane there. Sideways Polka is Spawn Racing, and it could be just my eyes deceiving me, Mike, but it looks like we're starting to get the first drops of rain there in the pit lane by the looks of it.
Hosing down. It's absolutely hosing down, Trev. Place now for the top 6, or do you want to be in the first one to be car out? You know, it's going to be a little bit of a funny. Just jumped on board one of the Ferraris there. The Ferrari said, you know what, it's just too hard. The times have been done now. You can pretty much all go in the pits and just go, you know what, there's nothing to gain here. And I think that's what we're going to see. You don't need to see the flag coming out for these guys, because, you know, that's it, all over Red Road. And well done to, again, to Hyper 37 car. Well done to you know, the 107 team there in the old Bentley. They've done particularly well in actual fact. So well done to them. And of course the 328, the 36 car there. Everyone's happy. In fact, I'm just trying to pick up car 107 there in the second place. I don't have a 107 on my sheet, but anyway, he's jumped through. The 328 car there back in place here, which is OGT 328 and Samuel L. Jackson. I love that, between those two drivers. Look, it's well done to them. And the BCG one, like you said, Cam earlier on, side managed to get himself through to 4th place here. Never ever count out Side Dog, nor Norman, the BCG 2 car and car 96. And looks like it's going to be enough for the Cape Racing boys here, car number 81. So no, they've done a sensational job. We've got the Bentleys. I saw one of the comments here that someone is, they're called boat leagues. I think that's absolutely brilliant. It's that Stream Elements, and it's He said, I know someone else has actually said it, sorry, I jumped on that one. And, look, it's great. Here we go. This is Jason Wilco. He says, no, Bentley's nickname is Boatleys, and I think that's absolutely fantastic in the comments. So they may need to be Boatleys after this one, Trev, because that is absolutely hosing down. Yeah, as you would say, mate, Penny, for your thoughts on this one. We've just seen all this good work undone.
It's going to be anchors away, no doubt about that, as we start Q3. The top 6 have made it through. It's the Super 6 shootout. P6 will get the best track conditions, of course. Thank you for the comments, Jason Wilkinson. Who will risk it to get P6? Well, currently Sidorg in the Ferrari. Always a sucker for the red cars growing up as a young man, watching the great Michael Schumacher. And what makes it even better is Simon Bishop is behind the wheel of that number 36 Ferrari. So always a soft spot for those. I call my Bentley Boatley McBentface. Thank you for that, Auto Tomoto. Well done, Dask, as well, says Mark Ledwich there. Great effort from those particular drivers there. Voodoo, rain for the first 20-25 minutes. It will ease up for the 30-minute mark, but we are ready to go here, Mike. We are making history tonight as well. Of course, the first ever Mega Esports 6 hours of Silverstone. Mike, what are you doing on Sunday afternoon?
Funny you should ask me that, Trev. I think I might be exactly where I am at the moment, getting a numb bum for about 6 hours watching what looks to be some absolutely cracking racing, because it all can change in a blink of an eye. And even though after an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, one little lapse of concentration and things will change. And Mega Esports, as we see the 81 car going out there onto the track, first car to have a crack at this. This is going to be, well, it is everything with Cave Racing GT3. Now, this is one of the pro teams coming out onto the track, and it stands to reason why they have top 6, but still they've got plenty of work to do here, Trev, and they are going to be the pioneers in these track conditions. They are laying it for everybody. I don't know how I'd approach this. I mean, I'm not a sim racer by any stretch of the imagination. I'm watching these fellas, and this is I'm sitting here with my mouth wide open at the moment going, go you good dog, and give it heaps. And this is just the warm-up lap, of course, for the 81 cars, so he's got to get some heat in the tyres. He's got to try and get those brakes up to temperature again. He's got a little bit of weaving going on there, so just the back view of the car, and look at that. I mean, that was just about smack on the apex where you want to put the car, so well done there. He is doing this particularly well. And Cam, I heard you say before that you don't do this, but boy, what a pleasure it is to watch this. And this is it's some very, very clever driving going on here from the. He really is doing it particularly well, so good on him. And it'll be interesting too. I really kicked myself. I didn't take any notes and have a look and see cars, but I think we probably find they will. And I stand corrected on this one. This is from the Cave Racing 81. Just misses that left hand. Really wanted to get it down in this short little straight. Nice tight left hander here, but this opens up quickly. And again, but one thing too, Trev, we've got to be mindful that these cars have to stay within track limits. Okay, this is the warm-up lap, but they still have to stay within track limits. Go too far wandering, bearing in mind he's still pioneering for the rest of the 6 cars. The drivers, bet your bottom dollar, mate, they will be watching this car. They'll be watching where the track, what's doing in what corners, and it's just torrentially coming down. So really am impressed with him. Here he comes round the final turn, down the actual straight, actual start finish, and now we can see him kick into doing what he's going to do very well. There we go. The clock actually will start, and where will we put this time?
Let's have a look. I tell you what, I really wish you wouldn't say dirty words on the stream, Mike. Track limits, we don't like to go with that on the stream, but that is going to be a factor here at the moment. You can see it's rain is easing off in 30 minutes, but as we see, John, but I think this session will only last around the 20-minute mark, so I don't think the drivers will be fortunate enough to experience the light rain very, very shortly. But Cam, I believe that as we see John coming down the hangar straight there, heading towards Stowe Corner, famous corner names here, Vale Club, and the Hamilton Straight, of course, named after the 7-time champion. I almost said 8, but that's a little bit controversial, is that he didn't quite get the 8th one, as we see John coming around now. And you can see they're coming through club onto the more traditional start-finish straight, but you can see that the conditions, Cam, look to be getting a little bit worse here at the moment. The rain is getting heavier, and I tell you what, the track conditions being wet is a masterpiece of understatement.
Yeah, absolutely. So the rain will start easing off in that 10-minute mark, and it might even go light rain in about 15 minutes or so. But yeah, definitely making sure that you keep the car off that green stuff, because it's very slippery. On top of that, the curbs and stuff like that too. So, we see John not really wanting to touch the curbs in the loop or entry. He's making his way now down the Wellington Straight. So this is one of the trickiest spots over the course of the lap, I think. You really run the risk of invalidating your lap into Brooklands if you take the wrong line, if you scrub the tyres out a little bit too wide. You don't want to make too many mistakes, because going through Luffield to Woodcote to finish off your lap.
You can see here he comes now through Woodcote, and what's this time going to be? Oh, a slight moment there, a bit of a snap of oversteer. It's a 2:11.4 as we wait for the next car up next. It is the number 36, of course, the Ferrari of Simon Bishop for BCG1 Racing. But John, 2:11, getting a 2:11.4 there, and Mike, not a bad lap, but not really setting the world on fire either.
Yeah, no, a good pioneering start. I actually jumped on board that car to try and watch him around the track and pick up where the sectors were and try and have some relevance, but for some reason it just wasn't telling me apart from that he was going very well, and we saw the time. But yeah, good time. A big drop though in performance, obviously weather. So historically ever Super 6 shootout draw. So that is again history, and we're going to keep doing that all through the weekend. It is just such a privilege to be able to be part of this this fantastic pioneering event here with Mega, and with, of course, the NAS team, the Mega team, and you'll find selves as well, guys. I'm in some quite royalty, but I'll certainly put you up there. So now we'll watch the second car, and again, I'm just trying to pick up sectors. I'm struggling for that one at the moment. We're not given us anything except the final time, but I'll take that with both hands, because we know 2:11. I think in these conditions, Trevor's actually time, considering how throwing these cars around, they really are treating them with respect, and it's so easy to say, but it's so jolly hard to do. And I know it's sim racing, but we know that under the accelerator, these things are 500-600 horsepower, and to have these cars with these conditions, and that, again, pioneering, one lap to warm the car up, get some heat in those brakes, get some grip on those tyres. This is some outstanding.
So BCG2, I tell you what, I couldn't have said it better myself. Norman Jono Stan in the car number 96, the Ford Mustang. Always a hard beast to tame, certainly in ACC, of course. It's a fairly new addition to the game, isn't it, Cam? And it's been one that the drivers have taken to very nicely indeed there. As you can see, the only Ford Mustang in the top 6 shootout, as we head down now to Brooklands and Luffield, all of the famous corner names around this great circuit. And let's see, we're aiming for a 2:11.4 here. It's been a pretty consistent lap from Norm. And let's have a look at what he can do through the final corner here through Woodcote. Onto the start-finish straight. What's it going to be? It's 1.8 seconds off of pole position. It looked a lot better than that from where I'm sitting, Mike, but he won't be happy with that. Neither will BCG2 here.
No, Cam's a very high standard driver, and he happy with that at all. But again, he's kept it on the right side of the track. He hasn't gone over. The worst case scenario is he's going to start 6th for a 6 hour. That's not entirely too bad. I don't know that time's going to be the worst time we see, because up until now both cars have been mistake free. Let's not forget that. One little mistake, one dare I say it, spin or exceed those limits, it's going to be that driver is all over Red Rover. He's done particularly well. He won't see that himself. He won't be too chipper, but no, I think that is like you say, the only Mustang made it through to the Super 6, so well done there to him. And now we go Ferrari driving Viva as we car here, and this is Bishop or Side Dog behind the wheel of the 36 car. Now this man, has he driven some laps? Has he done some racing? I mean, this is the man who's represented New Zealand so many times for Grand Turismo over been driven and flown around the place by Sony, so you know he really is a hot. Now, this will be very interesting. It'll be a great litmus test here. Oh, we just bumped that little inner apex. Doesn't upset the car too much, but I don't think he wanted to hit that. So just keeping an eye on Side Bishop or Side Dog. He's done it again. He's unsettled the car coming down that. Now, this is quite a monumental little mistake there from Side Dog, so I'm not quite sure what's going on, but nonetheless, no matter what, you know, it's all about the top six, and they are in the top six, so let's not forget that. But of course, in this manner, don't want to be making those mistakes, do you? Back to first gear, gives it welly up to 100 kilometres an hour in a second gear. They're back to first for the left-hander. So, you know, their little tricks and what they're doing, and we can see us. We've actually Nismo's chucked us on board now, so we can pick up where he's at a minute 30 into the lap there, coming down the long straight here. And this is actually quite a long straight, 230 kilometres an hour, nearly 240 back through the cogs, back to third, back to second. Just picking that line, not letting it drift too wide. Get it in there, Side. Get it in there, son. Long end of this one. Where do you accelerate? First gear, second gear. Winds it up, gives it a good old flat footful, and we'll see what the tail lap's going to be as he 2:11 to beat 2:11.4, 2:12, 5:4. I think, Trev, it's fair to say that those two little apex snacks that he gave the car earlier on probably didn't do him any favours.
Certainly not. I tell you what, he's 1.1 seconds off of the pole position time. John's still there in P1 as we've got OGT now out on the circuit for OSA1 Racing there. And that's all it takes, Mike, isn't it? Around the course of this lap, it's a couple of mistakes can cost you dearly. As let's take a look at this squad. Samuel L. Jackson. As not the famous actor there, of course. It could very well be. We haven't actually met him in real life, but OSA1 Racing there. Beautiful car, isn't it, Mike? The McLaren, as you can see here, coming around to start their qualifying lap. Are we seeing... we saw a few comments in the chat, Mike, about potentially their cave racing and John getting the best of the conditions, because they look to be... They're not exactly improving. Improving, are they, on this flying lap here? As we see OGT 1.1 and 1.8 seconds off the pace here. As there's a lot of support, Mike, for OSA in the chat here as we see OGT start his lap.
Yeah, look, you did right there, and the rain. Well, it's still coming down. We're actually going on board the OS car at the moment, and we're just seeing what he McLaren. Yeah, look, it's going to be a bit of... I don't know if anyone's going to gain. I honestly don't know if anyone's going to gain here. The track is still absolutely frightfully wet. It's going to be absolute skill. That's all it's going to be. As we will just have to wait. We'll just have to wait and see what we've got here as he goes through the left. And the thing up, and again, another of these... You've seen a couple of them here around the track there, Trev, and you know, in these conditions, so slippery, where you put that throttle application in, really important. You've got to make sure don't go over the apex, don't go over the ripple strips, under acceleration, and we're seeing a lot of control there from these drivers, so they're doing particularly well. And look at the far cry from what I'd be doing. That, but he is absolutely up there, and this is a Pro-Am entered team as well, of course, the OGT 328 team, OSA1 doing the job. So OSA1 with OGT 328 behind the wheel, can't get that wrong, doing a cracking job now. 240 kilometre an hour bracket, doing 233 there in the McLaren, so just about outdoes himself around that left-hander there, Trev, and we can see the 77 car on him there, Darcy. So he'll be we'll certainly keep an eye on him. Here comes the McLaren out of the final complex into the this right-hander watching on board for the time. What's it going to be? Is it a 2:11? It's a 2:15. It is a little slow there, Trev, and yeah, by a few seconds, he won't be too chipper as the 77 car starts winding himself up, getting himself ready. Here comes one of the Bentleys. What do you on that, mate? It looked pretty good.
Tell you what, I haven't been that disappointed since Shrek 2, as they say, but bits and missing now out onto the circuit. It just, it looked like a better lap than that, didn't it, Mike? It was, certainly didn't look like a lap that was 4.3 seconds off that 2:11 mark. As you can see there, track conditions, wet. That's a masterpiece of understatement. Still 30 degrees out on track. No real wind to speak of. 26 degrees ambient temperature. And if you signed up for mixed conditions here and you're just joining us, that's what you're getting. Downhanger straight, Darsk now. Bits are missing, Clocade and Darsk behind the wheel of the 107 Bentley there. I think somebody mentioned in the comments a little bit earlier on that these need to turn into boats, and they're doing just that. But now's the time. We've got a McLaren inside the top two rows on the grid, but it is Mercedes leading the way, Ferrari, Ford Mustang. Very mixed up grid order here. As you can see there, we're looking at Darsk now starting his lap. And I would love to get the insights and thoughts of a multiple sim racing champion in Cameron Norris. What's your approach, Cam, as you start a lap in these particular, wet conditions in particular? What are you looking to do here? Are you just trying to find different lines around this circuit, or are you trying to find where the grip is at?
Yeah, definitely, especially over your outlap that you have. You really just want to kind of get a gauge for, where most of the moisture is, where it's a little bit drier, just so then when you're actually flying through some of these fast corners like Maggots and Beckett's, even through Stowe and stuff like that, you really just want to find out where the water is lying so you can almost avoid it in a sense, but also making sure that your traction control settings are done up correctly and stuff like that as well is definitely a big one. And one of the things we obviously saw with Sidorg BCG1 as well was he tried to compensate by turning earlier for that understeer. And in turn, some of the corners, the car actually rotated when he wanted it to rotate. It didn't kind of understeer him out of the corner a little bit more, and he found himself onto the sausage curbs as Darsk. He actually puts himself just over 6/10 off of John there on provisional pole position. So the final runner that we have coming up now is Hooncorp Penrite with Hyperdrift at the helm, and I'll leave this one up to you guys.
Great work, Cameron Norris, multiple champion in KRL and various other series, of course, part of the QRT Esports squad. And I've got to tell you that these conditions aren't getting any better. Go Hooncorp, says Nismo. Mike, is he allowed to say that? Surely that's a conflict of interest. What's going on there?
Look, I don't you can say whatever, but I will repeat that. Look, it's we saw the car going so particularly well before, but now you got to wonder how fast it's going to be in these conditions. And we know that Hyper can absolutely rock and roll with the best of them, but we saw Cy Bishop make a couple of unusual mistakes in that. Look, Hyper's just as human as that. See what happens here, but so far he's that nose in, and I like the comment before from that chat before about the Boatleys. I think this is exactly what the Hooncorp Penrite cars wanting at the moment, this thing to be a Boatley, Trev. And look, mate, I'll talk this one through because I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to put that commentator's curse on. I'm a little bit scared, mate. He's not right here beside me, and he had a wheel to save a softball bat. But no, I'll let you, mate. You can call the rest. We'll do a wrap-up of who's got what and where with the position number one car from the top 10 quali now going for pole. Can he do the job?
Can he do the job? Let's wait and see. He's looking for a 2:11.4. I told him in the chat, Mike, I said he can't say that, surely, but Simon Bishop's jumped in and said this man is going straight to pole position, Murphy style. Are we going to see a lap of the gods? I don't think we're going to see a 2:02, are we? Which I think that was, wasn't that Murph's time across over the top of the mountain? But anyway, we're here at Silverstone. Will we see higher or lower 58s? The prediction has ended. We're certainly not going to be seeing 58s here this evening, that's for sure. But if you're out there watching, please consider following the stream. We'd love to have you as part of the community, of course. The big race the first ever race for Mega Esports. The 6 hours of Silverstone kicks off on Sunday, but let's have a look. 211.4 is the target. What's it going to be? Across the line, it's pole position. My goodness, at
Wow.
209.235. Wow. And then a few donuts just as well, if you don't mind, Mike, but my goodness me. Hyperdrift getting it done, and I've got to say, we talked about a lap of the gods, but I reckon he must have spoken to the racing gods to get it to stop raining, because it was like he was driving in the dry there. He's taken pole position here.
Oh, he's just celebrating. Man, and you know, that 206.8 that Murphy did, he couldn't quite replicate that, but a 209.3. So I did actually notice the bit of rain, but I don't think that changed anything in the overall to Hyper. I'll tell you what, I think he's going to be bonus payment later. Brad, he really has cracked that one, and of course he's got a very safe set side on there too with in the 37 with Smitty. Now, sung hero, this boy, he really has got the skills about him. Back the Hooncourt Penrite boys, and I'll still back Cy Bishop and the boys in the Ferrari too. I think standing little fight between them all there, Trevor. So and look, 3 purple sectors, you can't ask any better than that. With 38.42 and a 35.8 to a 209.235. Hats racing team, Jono, great job in the 81 car there, 211.4. Third place OTR there, Dask did a fantastic drive in the 107. I don't on the program, that'll work, and that did a 212.0. Then we go back to the 4th place here with Sidoggan, his teammate in car number 36 with a 212.54. 5th place there was the BCG2 team with Norm behind the wheel.
So there we have it. What a qualifying session we've seen. And you can see there, HC Penrite for Hooncorp Esports there, HC Smitty in the Bentley, or the Boatley, I think we've been calling it. Boatley, woohoo, says HKS Hyperdrift. Looking forward to starting 7th with Glasso for OSA on Sunday. But at 209.235, an absolutely mega lap there. Ironically, for the Mega Esports 6 hours of Silverstone. Cameron Norris, we kick off Sunday at 11:45 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, 1:45 p.m. If you're over in New Zealand. Of course, make sure to follow the stream. Turn those notifications on if you haven't already. You do not want to miss the action. If the race is going to be anything like qualifying, Cam, we're in, well and truly in for a top show on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You know, the Boatley came out in force during those wet conditions, didn't they? And, you know, that's kind of like what we love to see. You know, especially that's why it's kind of got its nickname, you know, it's really good in the wet. But, yeah, nonetheless, we've set the grid, the top 6, and obviously Q1, Q2, those results definitely didn't disappoint either. So, absolutely stacked grid that we look forward to seeing on Sunday for the big 6 hours of Silverstone. I'm looking forward to seeing what these conditions are going to be like, whether we're going to see the typical British weather like we have tonight.
Absolutely. Smitty there saying boats before bros. Bros before, you know how it goes. Looking forward to starting there. Thank you very much, Smitty. As I tell you what, just recapping there, if you're just joining us, our super. Thank you, Hainsey, my biological son there. Very proud of you, Hainsey, of course. But the final qualifying positions, of course, HC Penrite taking pole position with a 209.235. Do not adjust your sets. That is the qualifying time for pole position. Cave Racing in second, of course, coming out first for their run, 2.1 further back. OTR in third on the grid, in the hands of Dask. BCG won the Ferrari of Sidorg there, 3.3 seconds further back, and OGT in sixth, I should say. Norm in between them in the Ford Mustang for BCG2. That is your top 6 on the starting grid And boy, oh boy, then sideways polka, medal steal. We'll get to the rest of the results a little bit later on. But well, what a qualifying session we've seen in mixed conditions, and now we've stopped. The rain is now we've finished qualifying. Cam, the rain stopped as well. It's always the way, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, typical British weather and typical British, conditions out here at Silverstone. The rain likes to come in at random moments and disappear shortly later. So, yeah, no, look, honestly, great conditions for the top six shootout. It definitely shake things up a little bit. But I mean, Hooncourt Penrite were quick all throughout the opening two qualifying sessions that we had tonight, and likewise everybody else was very rapid too. We even had times that were, I think at one point we had the top four within a tenth or so, and the top six in just under 2/10. So very impressed by everybody tonight, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody take the green flag on Sunday.
It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Well, that's a wrap of qualifying here for the first ever Mega Esports race here at Silverstone. The 6 hours of Silverstone. Big shout out once again to our sponsors and supporters. Of course, we wouldn't be here without them. Of course, Australian Alliance. Motorsport Australia, Alliance of Australian Motorsport, AASA, of course, sanctioning body for the mega brand, Hooncourt BCG, KRL, the Respawn Esports Centre, as well as Kings Racing. All of the details are there on your screen. Let's take a breath, Mike, and try and get our composure back here. But it's all set up for a great race on Sunday, isn't it? And we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, it is. It is set up, Trev. It really has been a fantastic baptism of fire, I suppose, from the Mega. I think I can say quite happily that the boss man is happy. Sitting there beside me with a smile. I hear that Dr. J or Jakob is still good for his time of the night. Normally get quite early in New Zealand here. We tuck him up and put him away in cotton wool. Look, everyone's wrapped. Very, very much appreciated with all the drivers that have turned out here tonight, all the teams. And we know that there's still another team to hit the track there in earnest on Sunday. So position 15. And look, they won't mind. I mean, it's a 6-hour race. More to come. And I tell you what, the one thing that's come out of tonight, I think it's a cracking comment, and calling these things boatleys. I'm going to struggle Sunday not to call them boatleys from here on in, because I'm a very childish person. But look, guys, it's been throwing the rain and cat amongst the pigeon stuff, and we saw 6 very, very fast drivers doing a very, very good job. Yes, 6 seconds between them, but I think we didn't see one spin, we didn't see one problem, we didn't see one moment there of a car or anything like that. There was no track limits gone over, so we got 6 very, very good 6. We've got a very quality top 10, and we've got 15, possibly 16 cars going to hit the track in earnest on Sunday. So yeah, really looking forward to it. And I just want to say thanks very much from a point of view. First time watching and first time part of sim racing. I'm really looking forward to Sunday, and I think you guys are just absolutely fantastic. So we'll look forward to that one. So I'm wagging my tail. I feel like I've been doing this for 5 minutes. I've been doing this for quite a while, and well done. And again, big thank and pat on the back there to the AASA. They've really been huge, and of course the NASCAR team here in New Zealand. Of course, the Mega is a real time they do. Mega Esports, which is great. We've got the big Mega happening at the end of the real, and that's going to be something we'll talk about a little bit later on. So, Trev, thank you very much. Cam, thanks for including me, mate. I've really, and I'll bow out gracefully that you guys wrap up, and I'm looking forward to Sunday.
Great work. That is the voice of Speedway Racing in New Zealand, Mike Howe. Thank you, Mike, for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on board tonight. Thank you, Cameron Norris, multiple sim race champion, of course, in KRL and the various other championships that you've been involved in. Also, member of the QRT Esports crew. Thank you, Cam. We'll see you again on Sunday from 11:45 a.m., which is 11:15 your time. I always struggle to work out the South Australian times, mate, but thank you for joining us, and we're going to see you again on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to the big 6-hour race on Sunday. So we've given you the times. It's pinned in the chat as well. Be sure to jump into the Discord too if you want to join into any of the Mega Esports events that will be getting put on throughout the year, even going into next year as well. Definitely be sure to use !Mega in the chat and join the Discord. All the information can be found in there. But yeah, likewise, Trev, it's been a pleasure to share the commentary box with you again, and likewise to you as well, Mike. It's been a pleasure.
And absolutely fantastic stuff. Don't forget, we're just going to quickly recap the Mega Esports 6 hours of Silverstone. The cars may not be real, but the racing sure is. 11:45 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on the Eastern States, 1:45 p.m. New Zealand time. Please tune in for that Sunday, June 30. Of course, the qualifying is done. The talking is done. It's time to do the talking out on track. We hope to have your company then. Be kind to one another, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring you this qualifying broadcast with thanks to Mega Esports. We'll see you on Sunday. But for now, it's goodbye. See you next time.